Hello, Carolina Girl Hoop Report followers. We are here in Atlanta, Georgia at Holy Innocents High School. We just finished up the Brandon Clay Scouting Elite 100 Showcase. I've got with us the man himself, Brandon Clay. Thank you for joining us, Brandon.
Absolutely. Glad to be here, man.
Great event today, somewhere right around 40 girls, class of 2025 to 2028. Talk about, obviously you have one of the biggest platforms in girls basketball today, but talk about this showcase and the showcase that you run, and why is it important for young girls to come here and be in this environment?
Well, I think so much of it is putting yourself in a place where you're getting skill development, competition, and then playing with other like-minded kids, right? Like, irrespective of what level you'll wind up playing at. Like today, we actually had a couple of 24s that have already signed. Dakota Phillips at High Point, Lucy Hood at Western Carolina, that came in here for the pickup portion. They just wanted some run. Like, it's so hard, I think, for young ladies to get good quality pickup basketball that is constructive. People aren't fouling, you're not getting your head knocked off.
Absolutely.
I think just that alone is worth the time and the effort. But then you look through some of the kids we had today. Finley Parker, multiple offers. Kayla Cleveland, multiple offers. McKinley Bacon, really, really good at 2028 out of Tennessee. Ella Davis got next up at 29 out of Oconee. And you look at Elizabeth Wynn from Oconee today at 25 that was in here. Great. Well, Reese Davis is from Alabama. She just committed to Auburn last week, 2027. Why is she here? Well, they all want that same thing, right? Constructive criticism, skill development, high fives, you're doing this well. Like, I think just the atmosphere and the fact that we're willing to teach, coach, and learn, so that it's not just people running up and down with a basketball, one person takes all the shots, but putting our kids in a situation where we build through the day 2-on-0, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, and then wind up to 5-on-5. And everybody was, exhausted by the end, looking like they were ready for a plate of food. I am too, but it's just, I think that type of environment breeds competitiveness, it breeds intensity, but it does it in a way where no one is out for theirs. I gotta get mine. Well, no, you don't, because you just got yours for 3 hours in half court, 2-on-2, 3-on-3. Like, I saw you because I was at your bucket. So Absolutely. By the time we get into 4s and 5s, you're just in the flow of how to hoop. Not just playing basketball, but really hooping the right way. The extra pass, the skip pass, defending, high closeout, high hands. All those things come together, I think, make for a great camp.
Absolutely. It was high intensity here. You mentioned at the beginning of the camp, he said the first 7 minutes, he stopped everybody and said, this level of energy I'm going to need to carry through to the last 7 minutes. And I think the kids listened and they kept it up, and it was just beautiful. This week, it was just announced, obviously our Carolina Girls Hoops Report, North Carolina, shout out to Sarah Strong, Grace Christian 2024, just recently named the Naismith National Player of the Year. And you're a person heavily involved, the chair of the Naismith High School. I know there's different parts, the college, the high school, but you are the chair of the high school portion in regards to finding, identifying, and helping these kids, these nominations and these lists. Talk about what it meant. Sarah was in a gym with you a couple of years ago, early on in her high school process. Talk about how does that transpire from seeing a kid, tracking them, and then obviously when they get to that senior year and being eligible for some of these things, how does this thing work?
Okay, so the short answer to that is there are a lot of different, first of all, Eric Oberman and his people at Naismith Trophy do a great job. Let me make sure I send kudos to them. So there's High School Player of the Year, multiple teams that branch off of that. I am fortunate to be chair of the board of voters there and selectors, so boys and girls side, which is amazing. We've got some wonderful people on both sides who vote, and I'm just here to make sure nobody egregious gets omitted, right? There's not a Sarah Strong who should be in the mix that's just completely unknown to our voters. Our voters do a great job. So I think just creating that awareness, making sure that even a couple of years ago when she comes in, a couple of the schools that got in her recruitment, there was a phone call. Hey, I just saw this kid. I sent a report on her. Just wanted to make sure you saw the report. Absolutely cool. And then they kind of took it from there, even with her recruitment. But I think the more people you have like myself, or even Peter, who are in gyms and are connected to college coaches, the better it is. So great, obviously, for Sarah. And then even to the college front now, to still be able to be involved on the Player of the Year committee, both sides again, where, hey, I'm watching, whether it's Caitlin or it's Zach at Purdue or whatever, putting up numbers and just making sure that we acknowledge the right people, right? There's always going to be, okay, it could be Joyce Edwards, it could be Sarah Strong, it could be Jelani Cambridge. That part okay, whatever. But just making sure that all the people who are supposed to be in a grouping together are in the grouping, and at that point, you just let the votes play out, man. But it's an honor to be a part of it. Sarah Strong obviously is wonderful. First time I had a chance to get in the gym with her a couple of years ago, one of the things that I talked about was her ability to play in the middle third. Giannis Antetokounmpo had just done that with Budenholzer up in Milwaukee and won a title, and talked about maybe Sarah not isolating herself to one wing or the other, but playing a lot of her game literally in the middle third of the floor. And that was an adjustment they made, and I think it really unlocked another piece of her game. She already was a good passer, good player, good scorer. But I think when you play from the middle third, it allows you to be able to see things left to right. And I've talked to a couple kids since then that honestly haven't followed through in their development the way that Sarah did, where Sarah was able to take that feedback from the camp and be able to go back and really work on that at home. Where sometimes kids get that feedback at camp, and for whatever reason, maybe it's just not in their wheelhouse, and that's okay too. But I think we at least try to give you the keys to open the doors, man.
One girl, and this is going back to that day when Sarah came through with a couple of girls with Serenity McNair and Emerson Thompson, but Ellery Minch, right? Ellery Minch, Indiana girl. Her, and when Sarah got going, Ellery said, I need to be a part of this party as well. And she started coming back at her and getting buckets. And the 6'3", 2024 out of Indiana, Ellery Minch, shout out to you because you came back at her that day.
Going to DePaul, man. So, I mean, you look at, and you think about Sarah, who obviously has her choices here late, but a kid like Ellery Minch was going to play for a legend, and Doug Bruno with DePaul in Chicago, great academic institution. She's a very smart kid. It's crazy.
A Hall of Famer as a coach in college.
And I just, there's so much of that to what we do collectively. Sarah is a great example, but Ellery Minch, that's why this is important. It gives you an opportunity to share the floor with that level of kid, and it's a cool experience. And I think even one more to this from a this week perspective, you look at what Kate Harper has done in 2026 out of Marist School, who's been in the gym with us more times than we can count, and now she's an All-American, a Naismith All-American, and a state champion.
State champion.
40 plus in overtime in the Final Four, comes back last night, hits her season average on the dot at 27 points, 8 boards. And I think it just sets you up for success. You get to see in real time and in real speed what people look like around you, what you have to work on, and then if you choose to do so, remember what I'm saying now, a couple people, you give them the feedback and they choose not to go really get in the lab. These kids were mentioning Ellery Minch being one. They just go get back in the lab and they go to work, and it's been refreshing to see that.
And that's what this is all about in regards to coming to a situation where you're being pushed outside of your comfort zone, being given great instruction on things you needed to get better to present yourself in front of the college coaches. It's all a process. I don't think I've seen one kid walk into this gym that I've been at your events now going on the last 4 years where it was like the person felt like they were a finished product. You know what I'm saying? Like they come here to work. And that's what it is, coming to these events, going to individual showcases run by quality people who know what they're doing and give you good feedback to be able to elevate your game. So the next time he sees you, you added to that bag. I'm telling you, people, I'm here with one of the best. If y'all not listening, nobody's going to be looking. Just want to let you know.
One of my favorite phrases to our staff is documentation. So you can go back now on prospectsnation.com and see a couple of evals on Sarah. Kate's got 4 or 5 evals. Ellery Minch has 4 or 5 evals. All those things are documented. So at any point, a college coach can just go click. At any point, you can just go click. You can see what I said about people in real time. And I think that's such an invaluable tool in this modern day of all of us having phones, the way y'all are watching it right now on YouTube, on Pete's Instagram channel, however it is that you're consuming this content, you're probably watching it on your phone. How do you think college coaches get information? On their phone. So being able to take the documentation that I provided, that Pete provides, and then put that into use for your own recruitment, your own development, it's a beautiful thing. It's a great thing that we've got going. I hope more people take advantage of it. Pull up to a camp. Hope to see you soon.
That's all we got to say. Pull up to a camp. Thank you.
That's hilarious. Pull up to a camp. Hope to see you soon. All right.